Your brother died just a couple of weeks before you turned 18, and for the last 28 years, you've basically dedicated your life to trying to get justice for your brother, and I know the other families.
Yes.
You know, it has been just a lifelong mission, and I know you've been pulled this way and that, and I wonder, you know, there are, obviously now the courts must, you know, the court system now deals with what happens next. But there are other people this morning who face a public inquiry, and those are the Grenfell residents. And they've just been told about the judge who's going to chair their public inquiry. And I wonder whether some of them or other people watching will think, goodness me, you know, how do we avoid, you know, getting wrapped up in something for years and years? What are the lessons that you think have been learned as a result of all the faults in what happened after Hillsborough? What do you think people can learn from that?
What I would like is for people to never give up. You know, you know, when you have so many doors slammed in your faces, as us Hillsborough families have had over the years, I think you've got to stay united. You've got to, and you've also just got to keep fighting. Just remember why you're fighting, and never ever just never give up. When you know you are right, never give up. And you know, for me, Andrew was 9 years older than me, and Andrew was the academic, Andrew was the golden child, I was the rebellious one. And I feel that I always felt I was never good enough. I always felt very inferior and inadequate. You know, I wasn't very academic, so to speak. And I don't know in another way whether I do this to try and make him proud of me, because I want to be a good person. I want to do something good with my life. And the other thing is as well, for me, my journey was different from my parents, because when Andrew died, everything was all about my parents. I'm so sorry, you've lost a child. I get that. But I felt very alone. I felt quite abandoned, because I don't think people understand when you're a bereaved sibling, especially if there were only two of you, the impact that loss has on you for the rest of your life. And I've changed as a person, and I don't necessarily think I've changed for the better in many ways. I think I've become quite hard. I'm not as loving or as affectionate as I used to be, and I tend to keep people at arm's length. And one thing I am passionate about, and I would like to, I've started the process, I would like to set up a charity for bereaved siblings, because when, especially in relation to Grenfell, I've been thinking about them so much, because when you're affected by a disaster and a tragedy, one day you've got your brother or your sister, the next day you haven't. And your parents, they kind of stick together because they're married, you know, they're husband and wife. But then you're like on the periphery, and you're completely lost.